Hello, my lovely Aquarian friends, and welcome to Vivid Vibration Tarot. My name is Christina, and I'm super excited to be back with you today. I took a couple of months off, and just kind of really needed to harness my energy back in and figure some shit out. Super excited to be back, though. I'm not sure that I'm going to do the weekly, monthly reads. I'm thinking about doing like maybe new moon, full moon reads. And part of that is because, when I went back and I reviewed a lot of my videos over the past year, I noticed that oftentimes the energy doesn't really play out right away. In many cases, like small instances of it will, but then, like the rest of it kind of carries out over a period of however many months. New moons are for setting intentions, full moons are, closing out phases. And so I thought, like that seems like a good cycle to work on. I haven't totally decided yet, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. That being said, thank you to everyone who, stuck with me through the changes and, over my little break. And yeah, I will go ahead and get started. My aquas, I hope that y'all are doing well. I can feel, I did the Libra read and the energy in that one was tense. I can feel like I can breathe with y'all though. So I hope y'all are doing like well for real. That you had a good past couple of months. Let's see what we have here. The village. I swear. My air signs. You definitely don't have as much anxiety as Libra did though. So that's good. Alright, aquas. What can we get here for my aquas? With the village and the ocean. Aquas. Okay. We have a village. I hate this card. The prayer, Bardo, ocean, nectar, the bridge, the healer, and the mentor. Aquas. What's good? I mean, the village. I mean, this is just kind of that idea of, you can never be any bigger than the village allows for you to be. And that is in every factor imaginable. Whether that's financially, like they don't want your business to expand beyond theirs. Emotionally, like people don't want you to emotionally develop, like they want you to stay stunted like they are. Like they're gonna get mad at you. Like, what do you mean you've matured? What do you mean you grew up? Like you're not allowed to do that. You're supposed to be down here, in this low vibration with us. And I think that you existed in a low vibration for a hot minute. Like you were comfortable there. I almost want to say you were like a ruler of the roost, like you were like the head honcho of the low vibers, and you were pretty proud of yourself for it. Ignorance is bliss, I suppose. And not to criticize, but like that's the beauty of growth and development, is that you see things differently than you had before. And you could have an accomplishment when you were younger and thought it was a really big deal, and then when you get older and you look back and you're like, well, like that was good, I guess, but now I'm doing this. And it's not to negate your accomplishments at the time. You were as high as you could get with the information at hand, with the development that you'd experienced. So that sounded really critical. I apologize. I didn't mean it to be. I feel like you're just like, whatever, shut up, it's fine. Cool. You have the prayer next, and I want to say, the prayer is just like this power of manifestation. What is it that I want? Words carry power, and so the importance of, the idea of prayer, the idea of like speaking things into existence, is that you are intentionally, calling something to you. And I think that there's an idea here that you have decided that you want to intentionally call something to you. And you have the Bardo here, and I mean, this is a card of illumination, to a degree. You know, I pulled this for my Instagram the other day, and I was like, you know, this gives a different feel than what I had read into it previously. So I just want to like touch back, place between this life and the next. So it's that like in between stage. That makes sense. I feel like, because this is what that's what this feeling is. I mean, I think that's like that little bit of anxiety that I'm experiencing, and yet, you know, I don't feel a high level of anxiety. You know, when you have the bridge here, and you know, the warning behind this card is, you know, let the faulty foundations crumble before you try and cross the bridge. You know, like after everything's fallen down, after all of the, you know, like the issues have broken away, then make your move to cross that bridge. Because if you cross that bridge and you're crossing it bringing with you the issues of the past, then you're not going to get very far. You know, you're going to find that bridge kind of collapses beneath your feet. Whereas if you let go of I want to say like the stuntedness of the village, you let go of your past achievements, you let go of who you thought you were. I feel sassy. I feel like you're like, you're just on some shit right now. Respect, no, you know, no hate. Because I think you're past where you were, but like you're not to where you're in the in between, you know, like you're in that like, I'm not where I want to be, but like I'm not where I was. Like, tell me what, you know, like that's not who I am anymore. I almost feel like there's this element of defensiveness, you know, like maybe you are, you know, like you're encountering people who are, you know, trying to kind of tell you, you know, like you're never going to change, or, you know, don't forget who you are, don't forget where you came from. And you're like, bitch, you don't know me, you know, like I don't have to be who I was before. In fact, I'm not, you know, like, because I mean, you're Aquarius, that's your strength, right? You're like always outside of the box. Like, you can't box me in my past, please. Sass, I love it. But you're in that in between space, and you're trying to call in this, you know, a state of balance, you know, because I think you feel like you've kind of experienced a little bit of an extreme. You know, like you almost in like stepping outside of the village, like you dove headfirst into, you know, another experience that was like another extreme, you know, in the opposite of the one that you had previously found yourself in. And now you're kind of like, okay, but now I have to like bring it back into balance. Like, I can't live in an extreme, you know, that's just like not reasonable. And so you're wanting to bring this back into balance, and I think that's going to require an element of healing, and I think that you're going to need some guidance in that, you know, like the idea here, Aquas, is that you're smart, you're brilliant, you're independent, you're all of these things, but if you really want to bring healing to a situation so that you can move forward in life, you have to understand that you do oftentimes, you need to rely on other people, you know, and that's not to say that you're relying on them for everything, you know. I mean, you're not losing your independence and relying on another person, you know, but I want to say there's a singularity oftentimes involved with, you know, with I know best, and I know what I'm doing, and I've got this, and I, you know, like, listen, I'm a Leo, I get it, you know, like we run on ego sometimes, you know, you're like, tell me what, you know, and yet if we don't open ourselves up to other people's perspectives, other people's points of view, then we miss out on, you know, like the healing that's necessary to bring our extremes into balance. You know, community is necessary, you know, relationships are necessary. You're not the lone wolf of the world. And I kind of feel like that was your extreme. Like, you went from like being like the leader of this pack in the village, to recognizing the fact that you were kind of existing in this low vibration, to then taking your independence and like flaunting it almost to a point where you, like, I want to say like possibly alienated yourself a little bit. And now I think you're trying to cross into, you know, like recreating a community, but you run the risk of recreating a community that ends up being just like the village that you escaped. You know, and so the idea here is that if you really want to bring your life back into balance, if you really want to manifest, you know, the nectar is that idea of like something that gives life, you know, like a sweetness to life. If you really want to manifest that sweetness of life, that balanced life, you're going to have to accept, you know, the help of others, and the healing that comes along with their presence in your life. And not being afraid of losing your independence, because if you feel like that's a fear. And also not being so arrogant that you carry your past mentalities of what it means to be in the village into a healthy community. Okay? Whew. That's what I got there for my aquas. See what else we can get here in terms of clarifiers. I'll do these. Okay. Oh, gracious. Just dropping parts. Sorry. Okay, Eight of Cups and the Page of Cups. So, I mean, the idea here is just that, you know, I think you experienced, you know, I mean, Aquas, and I've said this before in my videos, I mean, you guys are, you know, you're run by Saturn, you're very logical, you know, emotion is not really your thing, you know, you carry the, you know, the container, but you don't drink the, you know, like you don't embody the emotion. You're not the water, you're the cup. And I kind of get the feeling that you've just experienced a little bit of loss and sadness, and losing your community, you know, and losing the community that you had. Like, I feel like you just like, there's kind of this idea of like rebellion against a group, against a mentality, against, you know, maybe even like you were raised to think one thing, and then you realized that thing was like the opposite of true, the opposite of anything, you know, healthy or good. And you're heartbroken over it. You know, you're like, how do I know what to believe? How do I know, you know, like, how do I know where to place my trust? You know, and that was kind of like this catalyst for you just like going off the handle and like doing whatever you want to do. And I feel like now, you know, like it's almost this idea of like somebody's like called you out on it, you know? You know, they're like, hey, you know, like I know that you came into this truth. I'm glad you got there. But also, you know, like just because you figured one thing out doesn't mean that you've got it all figured out. So maybe, you know, like check yourself. It's that energy of the mentor. You know, like somebody who's like, listen, let me wrap. I mean, I'm not even like wrapping myself up, like wrapping yourself, being wrapped in the like protection of somebody else, but like almost this, like taking you under their wing, you know, like let's talk. I'm not here to indoctrinate you. I'm here to have a conversation with you. And I feel like there's been, and like to me that's the bridge, you know, like that's the warning. You know, let go of the mentality of indoctrination, because I think that Aquas, you guys are so logical that if somebody presents to you an idea that makes sense, then you run with it because you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But what you failed to realize is that one part of a truth does not make, you know, like does not make it that like a wholeness of truth. You've experienced a fraction of a truth. And so you can't be afraid of fractions of truth. You know, not to say that you should invest in them wholly or take them on as your own, so much as it is to say that you can discover all of the truths, And when you discover all the truths, then you can take that and create something from like the many facets of truth that there are, and stop being so singular in your truth, because that is where you fell short in the past. Don't be singular. And then you also have the Knight of Cups. It could be that, you know, this singular mentality is something that is prevented you from moving toward something that you love. I don't know that that's necessarily a person. I mean, honestly, this all feels like ideas and you know, the idea of community and the idea of friendship, the idea of mentor, the idea of bringing healing. You know, I mean, it's almost kind of like this idea of like, you don't even know what it is to heal. Like, what does that even mean? I can't even trust that. You know, that's why you're feeling so sassy, because you're just like, you don't know which way is up right now. Nine of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of that idea of when things are good, they're good. When things are bad, they're bad. And also the Seven of Pentacles is, you know, that idea of like you're full of life. You're full of information. You're full of knowledge. You're full of experience. And don't hate the times that were bad. Don't hate yourself. Don't hate the other people. You know, you needed those experiences. You needed that insight. You know, like, you don't know the value of that information. You don't know what that will bring to life moving forward. You know, so don't hate it. And when things are good, when you find those truths, you know, like, let them be fluid. Allow for there to be a fluidity to you, because that's what's going to really, you know, bring forth the healing that you ultimately are seeking, you know, because I feel like, you know, the world's a broken place, and Aqua's, you know, like, you're all about being, you know, like, outside of the box. And today's world of brokenness, being a healed individual is way outside of the box. Normative, you know. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and again, I mean, I feel like this is just kind of the idea, like, you're focusing on your skills, you're focusing on your truths. You know, you're coming into new truths. I mean, the Ace of Swords is a new truth. And I feel like you're coming into that new truth, and you're coming into that new truth because you've taken what you've gained, and you're, you know, like, you're harnessing your skills. You're learning how to, you know, like, how to wield your sword. And again, I think the mentor plays into this. You know, like, you have this sword, and you know, like, you can swing it around, but do you know the art and the skill of using it? And I think that you have somebody that's coming into your life who's like, hey, let's talk about, you know, like, the art and the skill of using this weapon that you have acquired, that you know how to swing it, you know, like, you know how to use it, but, like, can you do tricks? And so you're coming into, like, this new version of truth with that. I mean, you're holding all of your experiences dear to you, because you're ready to rise up. You know, you're ready to, like, take that next move. And I really do kind of feel Aqua's like, that's what this is. This is your, you know, like, you're coming out of, or even coming into, you know, like, just like this rejection of what was, and rebelling against it, but then also kind of being in this in between. And the warning is that, you know, if you want to make it to that next level, you can't carry the anger that you have, you know, or experienced, or the sadness that you experienced from being locked into a mentality because of the community that you were previously invested in. Let it go. You know, recognize it for what it is, and move forward into your next endeavor. You know, like, just don't get yourself locked in ideas so easily. You know, like, that seems to be the message here. In a really big way. And when you do that, you're going to experience that healing. You're going to be able to manifest what it is that you want. You're going to be able to, you know, wield your sword accordingly. But you have to be willing to let people in, and you have to be willing to hear their truths. One last archetype, the vow. I mean, maybe this is to do with a relationship, although I don't know. I mean, because you can, I mean, the idea behind the vow is that be careful what you speak into existence. You know, like even if you speak it casually, you've spoken it, and it can in fact come into, you know, there can be this connection that is brought because of this. You know, like you spoke this commitment into existence. So I don't know if you're moving toward a commitment that you've rejected because of a community, because of a mentality, because of something that you held on to from the past. And you're moving towards something that's very different from that. And I think that your knee-jerk reaction is rejecting it, rebelling against it, pushing it away, guarding yourself from it, you know, rather than bringing healing to it. And I want to say that this connection that you're coming into is with somebody who will bring healing and offer you guidance. That's not control. That's not them telling you what to think or how to be. And you have to trust in your independence rather than like wear it as armor, you know. That's it. That's the message. I hope this resonates for y'all. You have a fantastic, you know, remainder of your month, and you know, set those intentions for the new moon. And I look forward to seeing y'all again soon. All right, bye.